Now next topic is the limbs. Limbs means arms and legs. These are our limbs. Okay. The arms are attached to the shoulder bones. The upper arm has one long bone called humerus. The long bone which is in the upper is called the humerus. This upper arm, you can see this upper arm bone. This is humerus. Okay. The lower arm has two bones. The upper arm joins the lower arm at the elbow. Yes, elbow is the, here it is the elbow. Elbow is the joining part between upper arm and lower arm, and lower arm I have two types of bones. Many small bones make up the wrist and hands. There are small bones in our wrist and in our hands. Now come to the legs. The thigh bone or femur. This thigh bone, it is called the femur, is attached to the hip bones. It is the longest bone in the body. As I told you before also, thigh bone, or its name is femur. It is the longest bone in the body. The lower leg again has two bones, like the lower arm has two bones. The upper leg meets the lower arm at the knee. What is the joint in legs? That is knee. And many small bones make up the ankle, foot and toes. Okay. Now here's a fact file. Smallest body is present inside the ear. It is called stapes. It is only 2.8 mm long. Stapes means the longest bone is femur, that is the thigh bone, and the smallest bone is stapes, that is the ear bone. Okay. Now comes the functions of skeleton. So there are three important functions given of skeleton. First is it gives shape, support and strength to the body. Obviously, if our bones are strong, our bones are very strong and they give shape and support to the body. And their work is to protect the delicate organs, like skull protect the brain, ribcage protect heart and lungs, and so on. And next is the long bones, such as long bones are in the upper arm and the thigh bone. These are hollow from inside. They are hollow from inside. Hollow means they are empty from inside, like a straw, or you can say a tube, and inside it is filled a soft jelly like substance, which is called bone marrow. This bone marrow is a very important constituent of the body. Okay. The blood cells, why it is so important? Because the blood cells of our body are made in the bone marrow. Again, this line is important. The blood cells of our body are made in the bone marrow. And where is bone marrow present? It is present inside the long bones like humerus and femur. Now come to the next topic, that is joints. Now our bones are connected to each other, and the place where they are connected is called the joint. So a joint is a place where two or more bones are joined with each other. And now to hold each other, there should be something to hold them. So they are held together at a joint by strong elastic fibers. There are strong elastic fibers present in the body. They are called the ligaments. And our skeleton has two types of joints, fixed and movable. Means some joints are fixed, we cannot move them, and some joints are movable. Okay. The skull joints are fixed, like skull. The joints of bones of the skull are moved, and hands and legs joints can be moved. So now let us see the movable joints. They are of four types: hinge joint, gliding joint, pivot joint, ball and socket joint. A stiff but flexible substance called cartilage, a stiff but flexible substance, is present on the surface of the bones where they join with other bones. Cartilages prevent the bones from wearing, like a lubricant. Cartilage is a lubricant which is present in the bones, which does not allow them to prevent them from wearing because of rubbing against each other, as our bones are continuous against each other. So this cartilage thing prevents it from wearing. Okay. Now let us see joints in detail. First is hinge joint. As you can see in the diagram, hinge joint is there in the knee and in the elbow, fingers and toes. So knees, elbows, fingers and toes, they are like hinges of a door. They allow movement in one direction. Yes, we can move our wrist in one direction, okay, not in the opposite direction. So this is the hinge joint. Now pivot joint. Pivot joint is the neck joint. The skull joins the backbone at pivot joint. The joint helps us to move our head sideways, upwards, downwards. Pivot joints are also present between the bones of forearm. So in forearm and in the neck joint, there is a pivot joint. It allows to move our head in all four directions, like up, down, sideways. Okay. Gliding joint. As you can see here, ankle joint and wrist joint. The joints present here are called gliding joint because they allow these parts to twist and turn. And such joints also exist between the ribs and breastbone, because when we bow down or something, it needs to be bent, and so this is the gliding joint. Now ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint is there in the shoulder joint and the hip joint. In these joints, the end of one bone is shaped like a ball. Here one bone is ended like a ball, and one bone is having a socket type structure. It fixes into the ball. The ball end neatly fits into the socket. Ball and socket joint allows movement in all directions. Shoulder and hip joint is the example of this ball and socket joint. So here one more thing about cartilages. Cartilages are also present in other bodies such as the external ear, nose, where they help in giving definite shape. So cartilage is a lubricant which is present in the joints of the body. Here, as you can see, I have reduced this topic: muscles, types of muscles, and caring for bones and muscles. I have reduced these topics, but still we will discuss it in brief, and you will not get any questions from these topics. So what are muscles? Muscles are fleshy bundles of thin elastic material that help bones and joints to move.